Hello, and thanks so much for tuning in. My name's Jamie. Today, I want to talk about how the people and situations in our life are very specific for us to be able to move past our old patterns and ways and also balance things out from the past. So, the way I've come to realize this is through my own holographic kinetic sessions because I've been walked back through time during my sessions to see where my issues were caused. And I've literally seen people in my life completely change how they were showing up, how they were feeling about me, how our relationship was playing out by clearing my own stuff. So, we go through life, or at least I used to go through life feeling like everybody was having the same experience I was, that people were feeling things as deeply as I was, that people knew the things that I knew. And it was only later in my life that I realized, like, oh, not everybody is this sensitive to energy. Oh, not everybody can pick up on things going on with other people this well. Not everybody is having the same experience. And, one thing that really had me thinking about this at one point was the fact that if I talk to my sisters, like, none of us had the same experience. None of us had the same memories of growing up. Like, none of us lived the same experience. Even though we were living under the same roof with the same parents, our perception of the situation was different. How our parents showed up with each of us was different because our own individual realities commanded that, right? So we are powerful spirits having this human experience. And from my experience, like, we not only are carrying things through time, sometimes through past lives, sometimes down the genetic lines, but we're also getting what we need to personally balance those things out and also grow and evolve. Like, we came into this life with the awareness of what we were going to experience and an awareness of what we wanted to do in this life, I believe. And then we come in and we have this amnesia to where it makes everything here feel so real. It makes these meat suits feel so real. It makes this physical reality, what we can see, touch, taste, hear, sense with our limited five senses, feel so real, which is the whole point. If it didn't feel real, we wouldn't learn so much. We wouldn't be able to experience the full bandwidth of this human experience if we knew that it wasn't real. Now, mind you, now that I realize that this isn't real, it doesn't make it less real. Although it shifts my perspective. I don't take it as seriously, and I am able to remind myself when my mind's going crazy that, like, none of this is real, and that what I'm meant to do is shift out of my old ways of being and doing if I want to create a new reality for myself. So it helps me in that way. But, like, honestly, as I'm going through things, as I'm experiencing things, things still feel real. It's just that I'm able to take a bigger picture perspective, the one that my spirit has, to realize, like, when I start feeling like it's too real, when I start worrying or stressing out about something, that I become aware of it a lot faster now. And before, I used to just blame outer circumstances, people. I used to feel like a victim. I used to think that, oh, we're just incompatible. Oh, this is just the way that person is. What I've come to realize is no one is just how they are. Like, all of us are playing parts in each other's play. And we're basically enacting roles. I think that we're set up before we even came into these physical bodies that help us in some way. Help us grow, help us learn, help us balance things out. So, I've seen this in my life play out so perfectly where my own, like, issues are activated or reactivated a lot of the times by, like, a partner, for instance. And then my stuff plays out just so to reenact their stuff. And it's all really to show us things, to give us more awareness, and to balance things out. And it's like, once I've shifted those things internally, once I've cleared those things at the root cause, a lot of the time, like, what I'll see is almost instant shifts in how that person starts showing up with me, how they treat me, how they're acting around me. It would seem as if they had a session and they changed their stuff. But really, when we change our own stuff, our reality around us physically changes. It morphs. The people around us morph into different ways of being when we move past our own stuff, which shows me everybody is getting the version of us that they personally need in their lives to grow, learn, and evolve. And just because someone is showing up one way does not mean that that's how they are. It means that that's how they are with you because you have some internal things playing out with them. They're just showing you. They're just an actor in your play momentarily. And I've noticed that before I started clearing things at the root cause with holographic kinetics, I sometimes would just keep attracting the same situation with a person, the same relationship in my intimate relationships. It was just different bodies. It was like, yeah, it would be all the same patterns, all the same things being acted out through a different body. And I remember when I first realized this, and I was just like, whoa, I'm the common denominator in all of this. Now, another side is that everybody is us, right? We're all just spirit in these physical bodies. So we all are the same energy, the same source energy. And I've even had people tell me my issues by talking about their issues, because we are all one, and I choose to communicate only with a person's spirit, which is essentially like communicating with my spirit, because we're all one. We're all the same energy. We're all just wearing these costumes and feeling like it's so real, it's so definitive, it's so unchanging. You know, I've heard people basically say they think like the partner that they had is the same to the next person. That's not true. Sure, it can be the case, right? Especially if they're unconsciously behaving and all of these things, but I think everybody gets the individual that they need from anyone they come in contact with. So going back to people have spoken their issues to me, and I've realized, oh, that's something I have going on. It wasn't always the case that I realized what was happening there. But when I started paying attention to what was showing up in my reality, knowing that nothing is by coincidence, nothing that comes into our reality is by coincidence at all. At all. Every little thing is in our reality on purpose. And it was wild when I started realizing, like, when someone would be talking about their issue, the way it kind of started was, I remember then being in the shower and thinking about this issue they had told me about. And I was like, oh man, that would be terrible to feel that way. Like, almost feeling like bad that they felt that way. And like, yeah, that they had that going on. And I was just like, oh man, you know, that wouldn't feel very good to have that going on. And something in me clicked. And I realized I had that issue. And so for me, I put it on my list. I had a holographic kinetic session coming up. I don't believe in coincidences. And I just put it on the list to see. I'm like, whoa, maybe I have that going on and I wasn't even aware of it. Put it on the list. Every single time that I've done that so far, it's come up as the priority issue to clear that day. Every single time without fail. When someone speaks something to me, I know that my spirit is conveying a message to me through that person. That's it. And even when things don't go in a way that I enjoy with someone, I know that it's my own stuff. Now, because of that, I don't always like go into it with the person, because sometimes it's like I'll have an experience with a friend and I'll know that it's not by coincidence. Like, and sometimes it's that I've had a session and old things will spiral out and come back to me through other people, and it's just kind of these echoes of past being shown to me. So I know not to react in those times because I've seen it happen so many times now. I know not to react, especially when it's a something like a pattern that I just cleared, an issue that I just cleared. But also, it's just like, it's so incredible how this reality is set up to be so real, yet everybody is walking around playing the part that we need them to. And when things haven't gone that great, like say with a friend, and it goes in a way that I'm like disappointed, I get introspective. I go within during those times. I don't get into arguments or fight with them, or sometimes I don't even talk to them, although I'm getting better about that. Like, I want to get better about communicating these things that are coming up for me in the moment, because I think one of the things of having this bigger perspective is that knowing that it's my stuff, I don't always involve the other person in working through it, because we don't really need to in a lot of ways. All that I'm being asked to do is be aware that it's mine, not theirs, and do my best to separate the person from the issue that I'm having. And, just moving accordingly, like either clearing it or just working with my own spirit at this point to clear it, to work through it, to tell my spirit, hey, I have the intention, I see what's going on here, I don't like it, I want to change this moving forward, I don't want to experience this anymore, Spirit, help me change this. And I just talk to my own spirit, nobody else, no other angels, no other guides, nothing like that, just my own spirit, and my spirit will help me change it at this point. So, and you can do that too. Being aware of something is just the first step. It's a very important step, but it's the first step. Working through and choosing to show up differently once we have that awareness is where the inner work really is. And yeah, it's really interesting, because I think a lot of us we'll move through the world and we just think that everyone is getting the same version of everybody else that we're getting, and it's really not the case. We're going to get exactly what we need to grow and evolve and learn. And that goes for intimate partners. If you had one that you felt like was really controlling or treated you badly, you're getting that for some reason that you may not consciously be aware of, but you can go and change that. You could have a holographic kinetic session, for instance. You could talk to your spirit and ask for clarity around what's going on, why you're attracting that, and be mindful when the next person shows up, if they start exhibiting those same things, not just going along with it, but working through it internally until you start getting a better reflection, or one that you're enjoying more. I find that I really know that I've changed something when I start attracting different into my reality. That's how we really know, right? Because until then, when the same things just keep showing up through different people, you can be sure that you haven't truly changed that, or you're being asked to choose differently. And sometimes just in choosing differently, it can shift our reality as well. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. I think, it's really fascinating that we're all living in our own personally curated, created realities, and we are always the creator of our reality, whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously. A lot of people are doing it unconsciously, which can make for a lot of suffering, because often there's a lot of blame towards other people or situations. And when you start shifting out of that and you start realizing that you are a creator, and then you start consciously creating by choosing your thoughts more wisely, choosing your words more wisely, choosing your actions more wisely, then you start seeing your reality shift. You stop being a victim of other people, you stop being a victim of circumstance, and you start taking your power back. So everything around us is us talking to us, basically, telling us what's going on with us. It's up to us to dig deeper into why it's showing up that way, why that person's showing up that way, why that circumstance is happening that way. And to move beyond it, we need the awareness and we need action in a different way. We need to show up differently. So, yeah. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.